Hello guys and welcome. In this lecture we will build an application or a model that use machine learning to predict the house prices using these datasets. So this dataset is the California housing prices dataset. It contains this file here, this CSV file, which contains these datasets with these columns here, and there is a description about this dataset and also a description about each of these columns here. So we have here 10 columns, and the details of these columns or the description of these columns is provided here. So we can see the longitude, the latitude, the housing median age, the total rooms, total bedrooms, population, households, and median income, and also the median house value, which is the value that we want to predict using machine learning. And the last one is the ocean proximity. So here also Kaggle is providing some details or some information about each one of these columns, so like the distribution of this column, the mean value and the max value, and so on. And you can see here that these values are, or these columns contain some numerical values, while this one here contains a categorical value. We will work on these values and on this dataset and handle each type of this median separately. If you want to work on this dataset locally on your local machine, you can download it from here. In this case, I will create a new notebook, so I will work on Kaggle here. But if you prefer to work on your local machine, you can download it from here and the file will be downloaded. Also the datasets, the link to this dataset and the link to the notebook that we will create will be available in the description of this video below. So also don't forget to upvote this dataset from here, and I will create a new notebook. Kaggle will open this new notebook on a new tab, so it will open a new tab and create this notebook. We can change its name from here. I will call it California housing prediction. The Kaggle will automatically create this cell, so it imports the NumPy and pandas, and also it will show here the path to this file in the dataset, or the path to any dataset that we are using. It is here in this folder here, inputs. So we have the dataset here, and if we save some parameter here or some thing here, some file here in this notebook, it will be saved in this output folder. So now let's run this cell, which import NumPy and pandas, and I will also import with them matplotlib .pyplot as plt, and we have here this the link to these datasets, which will be used later. It may take time to run the first cell because it will connect to the session or something like that. Once it's finished, it will create a link here, so we can copy it and come here and create a data frame that will read this CSV file. I will give it here, and let's show the first 10 entries of this dataset. So here is the data frame with these columns here. We can see that these columns are numerical and the ocean is categorical here, and this is important when we are working on when we are doing data processing. We can also show some info of the dataset using frame info. So here are the number of entries in this dataset are 20,640, and all of these are numeric except this one here is categorical one. And we can see also that all the elements are not nil except this one here, total bedrooms, which has some nil value. So we will handle this later. So we can show the number of missed values in this column here by saying df dot is nil. Call this function, and it will show here all the values. If it is missed, it will be true. We can sum them to give the number of missed and number of missed values, so number of non-values. As we can see here, all these columns has 0 number of missed values except this one, which has 207 missed value. So if we look at the percentage of this number, which is 207, divided by the total number of entries, which is this one here, I'll copy just this one. So it is like 10 or 1% of the whole data set. So in this case, it's not preferable to delete this column or to delete all these entries. In this case, we can replace the missed values or the nil value with the mean of these values. So we can calculate the mean of total bedrooms as df total bedrooms dot mean, and replace this column with, just I will copy this one, so we can replace this column in the dataset with this one here by saying df dot fill NA with this mean total bedrooms, this one here. And after that, if we run this another time, we can see that there is no missed value in this dataset, all are zeros. And this step is important to handle the missing values. If we want to see the description of the numerical values of this dataset, we can use df.describe. So this will return the number of entries in the dataset. It is equal for all the columns, and the mean of each column, the standard deviation, the minimum value and the maximum value, and also the 25% of values, the 50% and the 75%. We can also, for the categorical value here, for the one here, Ocean proximity, we can copy it here and saying df dot count values, or values count, value counts, and see the number of each of these objects. We have it has here 5 objects, and each one the number of each of these objects. Now we can visualize these datasets to see how it is distributed. So for that, we can use the hist from pandas and run it. So we can give it here to, because we don't want it to show these values. We can make the figure bigger, figure size or fixed size, which is equals to 20, for example, and 12. So it will have width of 20 and height of 12. We can see here the longitude, the latitude, and the other numeric columns here. So we can see the distribution of this one here and all of them. For the categorical column, we can copy this one here and tell it to plot it as bar and see how it is distributed here. So we can see their distribution here. For this one here, for example, I want to have just 5 number of runs with this attribute. So now, after we clean the dataset and visualize it, we can split it to training, validation, and test splits. So for that, we'll import here from scikit-learn dot scikit-learn dot model selection import train test split and run the cell. First, we need to create x and y. This will be the inputs and this will be the targets. So the x are from the df dot drop all the data frame, but we will drop from it this median house value here because we don't because it will be the target. We don't want it in the inputs, and give it axis equals to 1, and the y will be df of this median house values. So now we can see the x dot shape and the y dot shape. From this x and y, we will create train data and test data and y train and y test using the train test split from scikit-learn. This will take x and y, and the test size here I will give it 0.2 to be 20% for test. So the test size I will give it 0.2. And from this training data and also the y train here, we will create also the validation. So x train, x val, y train, and y val, and this will be the same like this one here, but we'll give here train data and y train here, and we will make this just 10% of this train data. Let's run it also. So now we are able to process this training and testing and validation datasets. For that, we will process the numerical and categorical values or categorical columns separately. So I will create a list of the numerical columns. I will put here all the names of these columns. From here, I will copy them from here. So these are all the numerical columns except the one that we are using for target, which is the house value, median house value. And I will also create the categorical columns. The list of this one is here. We have just one categorical column, which I will copy from here and putting it here.